What was it like recording bass for a KHEMMIS album? I mean, we haven't had to have you do that before.
Recording bass for this album was really interesting because I'm not a bass player. I'm not a bass player by trade, and I have a newfound appreciation for all of the little tips and tricks that bass players need to know in order to get a clean performance. But it was also a lot of fun because I'm not gonna say that bass is a simpler instrument, but in the context of these songs, I mean, the bass just isn't playing big chord shapes, isn't doing crazy runs. So it was really more about getting a consistent pick attack and staying in the pocket, and things that, as a guitar player, you know, Phil and I don't normally have to think about as explicitly. They're not the first things in our minds. And it was also a lot of fun to dial in the bass tone. Like, again, because I'm a guitar player, I know what I'm after for a guitar tone. But this was really a sort of sonic exploration with Dave Otero, a matter of like, all right, what bass are we gonna use? We settled on a Spectre, and it just had the clarity and depth that we were going for. Something about it, something about the onboard preamp, gave it this really excellent punch, but also this massive but controlled low end. We wound up really with what I would call like a cosmic gumbo of tonal influences. It's a mixture of the Neural DSP Parallax plugin and a Sans amp into an SVT Classic into an 810, and then I think there's an orange 8200 mixed in to get this big fat tone. But because these songs are so dynamic and there's a lot more, I'll say, aggression in the heavier parts than on previous records, we wanted to have more of that audible sort of upper mid-range distortion to really give it that kind of grindy metallic sound, as opposed to just filling out the low end. When it came to writing these bass lines, there really was a lot more space than we'd had on previous records, again, because of the more dynamic approach we were taking to the songwriting as a whole, but also to layering the guitars. And there were certainly spaces where I knew the bass could do more than just fill out the low end. And that was really a kind of balancing act, because as a guitar player who likes to play noodly solos and leads, my first inclination was to really fill up that space. And what I had to do was sort of rein that in. And Otero was a really big help here.
Maybe that was it. I don't know, Dave. I've been in here for a month with you.
Finding that balance between letting the bass provide some melodic movement, some sort of contrasting elements, without having it overshadow what is happening.